Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with the patch 4.3D rundown. So this is the first time in like a year and a half or so we've gotten a D patch. The last D patch we've gotten was I think like 2 point something D or something like that. But obviously we're going to be waiting till the end of the month for the 4.4, which of course is really exciting, a lot of changes. But of course, before we get to that, we still have a lot of changes in this patch 4.3D. As usual, I'm taking a look at the first look and not the actual one, because on the day the actual patch releases, I'm always going to be out the whole day, so no time to record a video there. So here, let's first take a look at the champion changes. So first up, Renekton is actually getting a buff on his Q. So he's going up by 10 base damage and 2 health regen at all ranks. The bonus damage you get from using the Fury is going up by 15 damage at all ranks. Now this is pretty interesting because I honestly have been feeling that Renekton is at an okay spot, but they have been buffing him a number of times, which kind of leads me to believe that he is actually pretty weak. So if I already think he's okay, then obviously with more buffs to his Q, which is his main point of damage, he is going to be a lot stronger. I already think he's really consistent because his matchups are really good in the Baron lane, and he generally does okay with everybody. So I think that this is gonna make him even better. Maybe it's gonna be definitely not S plus tier, but maybe near to the top of S tier. Xin Zhao has been kind of completely falling off in the jungle for quite some time now. So they're giving him a buff on his W, which is the one where you do the crescent slash with the poke in the middle. Basically, they're increasing his slash damage by 10 and the AD ratio by 10% as well. So this is overall going to give him quite a lot more damage in the later stages of the game when you get items. Also, his clear is going to be better because it does 10 more damage to an AoE area. So it's going to have a faster clear, and he's going to have more damage to champions as well. Overall, I don't think this one change is going to change Xin Zhao's position in the meta. I think he's still probably going to be pretty weak. And compared to a lot of the other junglers, because this one change is not going to make him insane, unfortunately, but it's definitely a step in the correct direction. Now, meanwhile, who I do think the buff is going to make insane is Wukong. Now, I already think that Wukong is one of the best Baron laners in the game, and even though his jungle clear is pretty bad, I still think he is actually one of the best junglers in the game. Now, for some reason, they've been trying to nerf Wukong out of the jungle for a very long time by allowing his passive to not work on jungle monsters, which is really weird because, like, in League PC, Wukong jungle is a thing, and the whole point of giving you that W being able to jump through small walls is mainly for the jungle, to be honest, because you can jump through like the dragon pit walls and such. But anyways, regardless, what he's getting is his Q buffed. So health regen is going up by 20 at first rank, but it's going up by actually 20 at every rank. Math not really working at the moment, but 20 at every rank. So this is going to help you throughout your laning phase, and if you're clearing the jungle, it's also going to help your jungle clear. The base damage is going up by 10 at all ranks as well, and the damage ratio is going up by 0.05. Now, I have no idea why they're buffing Wukong, because as I said, I think he's really one of the best champions in 2 roles. But I can only assume that people are not playing him correctly, so his win rate probably is not too good, and when win rates are low, they tend to buff champions, and his W cooldown is also going down by 1 second, but I don't think this buff really matters. I think the Q buff is a lot more insane. Now, what else is insane is Kayn, particularly Blue Kayn, has been running rampant over the meta. So they decided to take a different approach, which is instead of buffing or instead of nerfing Blue Kayn, they're trying to buff Red Kayn instead. Because if you go for red form, your blue form problems are sort of solved, because it doesn't matter how OP the blue form is if you go for the red form, right? So they're trying to make it more attractive for you to go for the red form. They're increasing your base health regen by 2%, which really is good, but most people are not gonna notice it. And his Q, his damage is going up by 1% plus extra 0.02% of your AD. I don't really think this change is too huge. Of course, it actually, I can't really say that. It is pretty huge because it scales off your enemy's max health. So it's going to work a lot better against tanky targets. But overall, I really don't think people are going to notice this that much. And I still think Blue Kayn is going to be the main form of Kayn you're going to see. And as such, I think that these buffs are relatively meaningless because you're mostly going to see Blue Kayn anyway. Now, a pretty interesting one, which I feel kind of comes out of nowhere, which is Katarina's passive damage is going down by quite a bit. So her base damage is going down by 10. as a base, and the multiplier instead of 12 times level is now only going to be 10 times level, and the attack damage ratio that you're getting, which this one's not really relevant because you mostly build AP anyways. Not many people build AD Katarina, but the attack damage ratio is going down from 45 plus 3 times level to 30 plus 3 times level percent, which basically just means that her AD ratio is a little bit worser, but yeah, but I don't really know anyone who plays AD Katarina, so maybe this is kind of a niche thing where AD Katarina builds are performing very well maybe. So as a result, this could be why this nerf is coming in out of nowhere seemingly. So regardless, next up, let's take a look at the runes. So runes are getting quite a big buff. So the first one is the domination tree. So Eyeball Collection and Zombie Ward are both getting a boost in terms of the amount of stats it gives. So for the Eyeball Collection, from 0.5 it goes to 1 AD that you get. So instead of getting 15 max, it's now 20 max. And similarly, the AP is going from 1 to 2, so instead of 30 AP, you're going to get 40 AP. And same thing for Zombie Ward, from 2 to 3 and from 4 to 6. So overall, you're going to get 5 extra AD and 10 extra AP. So I guess that, I mean, not I guess, but honestly, your domination tree is normally competing with your precision tree, and normally the worst rune in domination tree is normally either the Eyeball Collection or the Zombie Ward, because you're normally gonna go for something you need in the first row. Let's say you go for Scorch or something like that. Second row, you go for like the Mark of the Week or something like that. But the third row, you really you have to choose between the remaining 3 in that row. And honestly, I feel that like Eyeball Collector and Zombie Ward is really underwhelming, as well as of course the Ingenious Hunter, which is also getting a buff where the skill haste you get from each takedown is going from 4 to 5. But really, like, how often will you actually need the Ingenious Hunter, because it only works on items. So I've never taken this rune before personally, and I don't think a lot of people take this rune anyways. So yeah, so next up, Inspiration Tree. This is a pretty interesting one. Hex Flash. The channel time is going down from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. Now this is really huge, because having to channel your Hex Flash for 3 seconds is way too long, and it's horrible. But 2 seconds is a lot more manageable, and maintaining that time, you can now maintain it for 4.5 seconds instead of 3.5 seconds. Now what this means is, when you've channeled for this 2 seconds, you can continue holding on to this for another 4.5 seconds before it's going to cancel by itself. It used to be 3.5, so this is going to give you more freedom to hold on to your Hex Flash and wait for the right moment to Hex Flash in. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. But Hex Flash is going to be really a lot stronger now. So we still have a second page of changes, and now we're taking a look at items. So now items have a lot of interesting changes in my opinion. First up, we're going to take a look at support items. So it's a little bit too zoomed in. So let's first take a look at the support items. So Ancient Coin, the one-time gold gain you're going to get is going to be 65 instead of 55, and the health regen you're getting is going up by quite a bit. And in the meanwhile, if I can actually find it, Relic Shield, there we go, is actually getting his health regen basically reversed. So basically you see here, the 15 to 65 goes from 20 to 80, and here the 20 to 80 goes to 15 65. Essentially, they're kind of swapping it around, because Relic Shield is the most popular item to take, surprisingly, despite the fact that Ancient Coin you don't actually have to do anything. But one of the main reasons why this is the case is because on Relic Shield you get the health regen, and you also get to control the wave. And with the Ancient Coin, you basically do nothing, and you get gold for doing nothing, but you don't really have the health regen. So now what they're basically doing here is, whenever your Ancient Coin pops, you're going to not only get more gold, which is going to charge your item faster because it's the slowest charging item, but you're also getting more health regen. In fact, you're getting the Relic Shield regen. So I think that this is pretty much going to make Ancient Coin better than Relic Shield in a lot of cases. Now, the Relic Shield, the only plus point you have now is controlling the wave, but in reality, like 99% of players in Wild Rift or supports in Wild Rift either don't know how to control the wave properly, or they and their ADC are not on the same page. Like, let's say the ADC wants to push, the support wants to freeze, and then you have a miscommunication and it just goes horrible. So overall, I think Relic Shield for wave control is not really the best. I think that the health regen and the health you get from Relic Shield is going to be a lot better. Now, of course, Ancient Coin doesn't give health, but it gives you the health regen, so Ancient Coin might be better than Relic Shield. Yeah. So next up, we're going to take a look at the Duskblade of Drakthar. So what they're giving Duskblade a buff, they're giving him armor pen plus 3, and also your base damage is going up by a really sizable amount, and the slow time is going up by zero point 0.1 seconds. Now, why is this the case? Well, basically, after they buffed Yomu's and Serpent's Fang, nobody builds Dustblade because Dustblade is more expensive and it gives you a lot less utility. Like with Yomu's, you get the movement speed and the attack speed. With Serpent's Fang, you get the anti-shielding, and Dustblade used to be the one that gave you the most lethality and the most damage. It's the most like pure damage kind of item. And this Dustblade did not do that because it gave you the same lethality. It did give you that extra damage and slow, but really it could not compete with Yomu's passive and with Serpent's Fang passive. So now, with this buff of giving it more damage and more lethality, I think Dustblade is going to take its spot back in terms of being the quote-unquote like top damage lethality item that's actually just going to give you the most pure damage but no utility. So I think this is a good change, although I'm an ADC. Obviously, I don't like lethality changes, but I think it's a good change for the game. So Magnetron Enchant, no one takes this. I've never seen anyone take this. Maximum movement distance is going up by 50, so the range is going to increase, and the cooldown is going down by 10. Like, really, I really don't think this matters at all because nobody takes Magnetron Enchant. Maybe it's just a hidden OP or something, but as of now, I've never seen anyone ever take the Magnetron Enchant because there's just so many better options. Like even if you're a support, like Stasis, Proto Belt, and all of your support runs like Redemption, Locket, yeah, so many better options. So anyways, now we're gonna take a look at some boots. So here we first have a buff to Merc Treads. So health is going up by 50, but in compensation, the magic damage reduction is going down from 15% to 12%. This is the same treatment that Plated Steel Caps actually got last time from 15 to 12 as well. So honestly, I think that this 15 to 12 is reasonable because I think that the defensive boots are actually really, really strong. And especially when you're playing like into very heavy like AP or AD teams, the defensive boots are really, really strong. And more health, I guess, just encourages people to take Merc Treads a little bit more. I think that it makes sense that Merc Treads have more health than Steel Caps because Steel Caps is generally going to be useful like every game because most of the time you're playing against AD teams. Like for example, you have an enemy ADC, you have an enemy AD top most of the time, and most of the time you have an enemy AD jungle. So most of the time your only AP source of the enemy team is going to be the enemy mid laner and sometimes the enemy support if they're playing like anyone with damage like a Lux for example. Even if they're playing like a Janna or a Lulu, it doesn't matter, they're only going to have one form of AP. So I think that giving it more health makes sense because you're going to build it less. So maybe if the enemy mid laner is fed, you can actually opt into our Merc Treads to of course get the magic reduction, but also now you get more health because it's a little bit more fair that way. So next up, the Boots of Dynamism is actually getting a buff. So the cost is going down by 100. This puts it in line with every other boots that cost 1400 instead of 1500. And the armor pen is going up from 8 to 10. This is insane. Like, I think Boots of Dynamism is going to be so OP. Like, it's already very strong. Everyone's already building it who wants lethality. And now, of course, the cost is going down, so it's going to be the same cost as every other boots. And there's 2 more armor pen. This is insane. And Steel Caps is getting a nerf again, so physical damage reduction from 12% to 10%. Of course, this is a double nerf because it used to be 15%, so now it's going down all the way to 10%. So, as I said, Plated Steel Caps are way too OP because majority of the time you're playing against a team that's majority AD damage. So this does sort of make sense in terms of game balance. So next up, we have adjustments. So here I'm going to talk about Harmonic Echoes first. So its cost is going down by 200 and the healing amount is going up from 70 to 130 plus 10% AP. Now the main reason they're doing this is no one is building Harmonic Echo. So most supports will go for Flowing Water and Ardent Sensor, and then they're going to build other stuff like your Death Cap or whatever else. No one goes for Harmonic Echo because it's a horrible item. The healing is so low and it's so expensive. So now they're increasing the healing and decreasing the cost. We'll have to see if this actually makes the item like worth it to go at now, but we'll have to see. So Janna all these changes. Basically, Janna's getting a rework. So Janna rework is gonna make it such that she has like two charges of her tornado that auto releases. Her W hits everybody in range, and her E hits everybody in range, and her ulti, you don't cancel by walking away. So you can actually just ult and then you can walk away. So your healing area will still be there. So that is an insane rework. But in compensation, they're basically nerfing her everywhere. So her passive movement speed is going down from 8% to 5%. The only buff she's getting is on her Q, which the damage is actually going up at the later ranks, and the AP ratio is going up. And the time it takes for your storm, which is your tornado, to reach the destination is going down to half, so it's traveling faster. However, on your W, the AP is going down, AP ratio is going down, movement speed is going down, cooldown is going up, which is bad, of course, and the shield value you're getting is going down, and the AP is also going down, and then your health regen on your ulti is going down like by half, and the AP ratio is also going from 50 to 30. So basically, you're getting nerfed on every ability other than your Q, which is getting buffed. Now, I think this does make sense because imagine instead of your W hitting one target, imagine you get like a 3, 4, 5 man W, and if you did the old damage, that's pretty insane. And same thing for the shield. Imagine if you're shielding your whole team for the same amount as last time. That is also too insane. But I actually think that we'll have to see how the rework plays out. But this feels like it makes Janna worse because you always want to be able to focus one person instead of multiple people. Like for example, if I'm a Jinx, I want to focus on killing someone. I'm going to take like a rapid fire cannon instead of a Runan's hurricane to kill that one person instead of spreading my damage across to multiple people. So with same thing with enchanters, like you want to be able to shield one person, and like let's say that's your ADC or that's your mid laner who's fed. You want to be able to shield that one person for more, and probably you want to be able to deal more damage to one enemy for more. So even though this rework seemed like really good in a sense that you could shield everybody and you could damage everybody, but if they're nerfing your damage by this much and you're shielding by this much, then I actually think it probably makes it worse. It's definitely easier to play Janna, but I think that this kind of makes it worse. But anyways, we'll have to see how it goes when the rework actually comes out. But anyways, that brings us to the end of the rundown. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.